I will adjust the information. I should have done that first like a big doofus, but I didn't. So whatever. Hopefully it doesn't get split into two this week. That would be nice.
Yes,
It
well, I
is.
think every other has done it.
Or it gets copyright strike for some dumb reason. Huh.
We stole those guys' voices. We weren't even really talking. We just
It
recorded
was
over
it was
someone else.
background audio that you probably could barely hear.
Oh, from the gameplay?
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't even had loud gameplay.
that's what I mean. It's just like, what? How? If someone came here to listen to just the gameplay music, they are in the
There are
wrong
places you
spot.
could find exactly. There are places you could find it that have much better quality for the background stuff. In fact, it would be foreground stuff in some places.
Okay. If I can type. There's anything really cool in the camo sale.
In the what cell?
It's Kenmo, right? That's the.
Is it Chemo or Chemco?
I'm only here
Is
for.
it?
Oh, waffle. I'm only here for. He's in the preamble section where I just talk about stuff. Kimco? I don't know.
I think it isn't it like KEMCO? Or am I crazy? I could be
Hold on.
totally wrong.
Yeah, it's Kimco.
Okay. I was like, oh no, am I mixing up Bandai Namco with something?
No. It's not spelled Japanese. That's why it's weird. This was Japanese, it would be a K. They don't have C's.
That's
Eh.
true. It is weird that we also have the CH sound, which is the same as the K sound, but why do we have it?
Let me just go send it the tweet and then we can actually start. And I'll put on the gameplay. On sticky keys. No. No sticky keys. Uh, Alright. That worked. Okay, we're good. It says 6 still, and I just updated the information, so hopefully it changed to 7. Nope.
It'll be 6 part 3 and 4 when it splits now.
Yeah. It's gonna be more confusing than the original Final Fantasy timeline.
That and the
And
numbering for Japanese in America.
that's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
Alright,
Well,
and
the
we and
timeline's
we
weird too, to be honest.
and we're live with gameplay in the background. You can feel free to just not look at it. You don't have to.
No, you have to look at it.
You
Do
you
it.
have to.
You
And
have
we
to look
talking
at it.
port beggar weirdness. And man, oh man, my week started off great. So good. You see the first thing I commented on Monday?
Of this week or last week?
This week.
No, I missed it. What happened?
I put it up in chat. But it's some guy put up a Red Dragon had a post. I know how much everyone loves that guy. I don't love that
Oh,
guy.
good. He's awful.
But then some Xbox thing was like, we should just nuke Japan and get
Oh,
it done
that's.
with.
I forgot how recent that was. Yes, I do remember that, and I had responded on there also. I hate when people are so ignorant they decide to add racism and just hate towards any
Yeah,
culture in
well, that guy's
general.
account got suspended, from what I can tell. Who said that?
Oh, can't imagine.
After I told him
And
to shut up
yeah, oh,
in the
because he had
nicest
like
way possible.
he
I
had
said,
like the
please.
weirdest response too. He's like, "Yeah, we don't care about Japan, and also we should nuke them again." And it's like, what? That's such a weird reaction out of nowhere. It's uh, it's about video games, my guy. No one has to die. Ugh. I mean, it puts you in a bad spot too, because on one hand, it's like that was someone weirdly reacting to Red Dragon,
Well,
so it
Red
wasn't
Dragon's
that guy
post
himself.
was just two screenshots.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
that's all his posts are. He takes over people's stuff or screenshots and then says awful, horrible things about it. He doesn't actually make any content. That would take work.
yeah,
Yeah, he likes to bash people. Um,
I
but
don't even
yeah,
know what he was trying to say with that one, but basically there was no words on the Twitter post, but I
yeah,
take offense. And then I think someone else got him riled up to say that he's like, well, I'm Canadian, and I was like, oh, just shut up. As a fellow
yeah.
Canadian, just shut up.
Well, that's what was funny. You're like, I don't like to, get into this stuff because it's beneath, me. And you're right. It's you don't want to get in the console wars BS, but you also have to defend yourself because people make these crazy claims and then are like, by the way, I'm part of this culture or I associate with this, and you're like, not me. No, stop sticking my name on things.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't want to be associated with people like that. So
yeah,
that's how we started the week, and it was so much fun, and that's why I made that post about drama.
yeah. Oh,
I'm
so
like,
good.
I just I hate getting up to stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
and I totally understand. You don't want to deal with that side of things. It's easier to just ignore it, and then someone drags you in, of course.
he had to say he was Canadian. He just had to say it. I
Yeah,
think that was Sicko was the guy's account.
it might have been. I can't
He's
even look
suspended
now.
now. I can't even do it because he's
Yeah,
suspended.
exactly. Uh,
Honestly, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Clearly,
I know. So messed up, that poor innocent guy. He only wanted to kill hundreds of thousands, maybe millions.
it was definitely millions. Definitely millions of people because he doesn't like anime. And that's
Oh,
another.
so
Oh, that was today's hot take. Was actually it was yesterday. Was that XPGG? I just got Twitter up here. I'm just gonna try and find it.
no problem.
But Ruben was talking about it today. But I think it was XPP projects. I can't remember his tag. Their
Hmm.
tag. I've never met them. Oh, they're local. Sorry, XTL projects.
Well, that sounds familiar. They
Yeah,
get brought up now and then.
yeah. They're cool.
Yeah.
They brought up it was, yeah. It's like one that another shit day from yesterday was people talking about anime games. Senator Kagura was in the limelight on that one, and I'm just like,
Of
okay,
course.
okay.
Poor
That's,
series.
yeah, it's dead now, guys. Stop dragging it through the mud. The most they can do is like a Neptune crossover and then underperform because you know you had to
Yeah.
neuter everything that people buy that series for.
And unfortunately, I think they just announced something Neptunia related, but it was also not coming to us, to no one's surprise, but to my disappointment.
Idea Factory hasn't come around yet, and hopefully they do. If they have to go through ID at Xbox though,
Wait, you don't think Chara's the biggest fan?
oh my god, I
Oh,
hate.
he loves that stuff.
I'm done with that guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds. But like, see the Korean game that's coming.
Yeah, there's been a few that kind of look like they
I don't
slipped
know if it
under
was
the
Korean.
radar.
I couldn't tell, but it was from um, Gaming News for Korean
Yeah,
Xbox.
that guy covered it at least.
Yeah,
There was
and I'm
also
like,
another visual novel recently that snuck in like that. Where it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know if he saw it. I assume he did not.
yeah. If people don't know who we're talking about, it's Chara. What's his name?
I forget his last name. Or are you
It's
talking
Chara
about?
something. He runs ID at Xbox. It's kind of his
Yeah,
baby. And if we're being completely honest, the games that get blocked, like Postal, I don't understand because you can do basically everything you can in Postal in a game in games like Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto. So I don't
yeah.
understand why it's suddenly a problem if it's
It's also weird because it's like at the time when it released, I could understand a bit more. It was a bit harder to do that kind of stuff. In Grand Theft Auto, you can go to a strip club. You can do that kind of stuff completely. You can
someone was
fly a
try-
jet into a wall in a
someone was trying to
building.
tell me that Postal's somehow worse because you can like pee
It-
on people and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's weird, but there used to be a
yeah, it's
fart
definitely
button
someone's
in
fetish, but
yeah, there was a fart button in Grand Theft Auto for the longest time.
yeah,
So
and
you could
I
literally
don't.
go around and people would get mad at you when you did it. So it's like
Yeah. Well, in Saints Row, you have something similar too, like weapon-wise. You can weaponize farts. You can run up and beat someone to death with a dildo bat. I
yeah.
mean, is that any better and or worse? Someone was like, you can flip someone off whenever, so they shouldn't. I'm like, dude, in GTA you can flip someone off. You can do it in first and third person too.
Yeah.
These are not new concepts. Being insane to NPCs to the point of like, maybe this guy needs help. That's been a thing in games since like
Literally
they
running with
were
scissors
invented.
literally took I don't know if you follow him or know who it is, but CV11.
Yeah,
You've seen he's like the boomer shooter like guy,
yeah,
basically. He has an NPC and sells crack
yeah.
in Postal 4. No regrets.
Wasn't it like spelled no regrets or something though?
No regret. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dumb.
Uh,
It's apparently selling crack is too much.
Meanwhile, in GTA, there are numerous missions where you sell drugs, and you can even take drugs.
There's probably other games that are like that.
Oh yeah, the only reason I'm referencing GTA is
I
because
actually
this
first
is on
party.
everything.
I got one. You take drugs. Fallout.
You do more than take drugs, you make them, you sell them,
Yep. Yep.
and
I don't
there's a lot
understand.
of type of
It's
drugs.
you could also just be
Did
a.
they get away with it because it's funny names? He's not
They're
doing
not
drugs,
real
he's taking
drugs.
jet.
JJ the
So,
Jet
inhalable
Plane.
crack? Yeah, but it's different because he didn't say crack. Duh. Also, in that game, you can blow someone up with a nuke. You can
You blow up
incinerate
an
someone.
entire town.
Yeah,
You
you
can
can
end an
incinerate
entire town.
someone and make their head pop. The eyeball flies
But you
out.
have the choice of doing that. Like Postal. It's see. You also have the choice in Postal to just not play the game.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
again, this is why Charles BS doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. If a game has a rating, then it's 100% already solved. If you buy a game with a bad, well, not bad, with a high rating that you don't find appropriate, that's on you. It tells you before you buy it what to expect in it and who should be allowed to play it. It reminds me of in the older days when people were like, this game should be banned because my kid played it. Well, the game is rated M, so when you bought it in the store for him, that's on you.
Yep, my mom was actually saying that the other day when I was talking about Seven Cognitive yesterday. Because I don't
Yeah,
care. My mom, listen. She watches all
yeah,
sorts
and
of
that
stuff and sees all sorts of
exactly,
stuff. It's like there's nothing in these games that's worse than like anything else that's ever existed.
exactly. Plus, you gotta hold the consumer responsible. The more you say, we will neuter our stuff so everyone can do it,
Yeah.
regardless of what the
Can I
consumer wants.
find his tweet on the Seven Cognitive thing? Because he had a really good point about it. This is
Who?
so the original point was from Merrick. I've never heard of this person. Punished mother. Interesting. These children's bodies and the ultra sexual characters clothes slash off. You can have them take off the clothes too, and these children's bodies. So the type of Sutter Cogger and how all the girls look young.
Hmm.
And there's a bunch of people in the comments explaining that there small women exist.
Well, that's the thing. You always see people that are like, "This is sexualizing bodies that don't exist," and then you'll also see comments of real people that are like, actually, I have that body type, and it's super not cool that people mock me for, all these things just because that's how I look." It's depressing. You also see, all the time people will degrade others and mock them for enjoying that kind of thing,
Did you know
but
about
will
Australia's thing about A cups and pornography
no.
and how A cups can't be porn stars in Australia?
Are you serious?
I am 100% serious. So there's a bunch of people who are mad about it. The only reason I saw it is because I know people who follow porn stars or people that are were affected by it, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Anyway, um, XTLP XTL projects is like this is why developers should ignore criticisms of these kind of games, and
mhm.
and skip certain platforms to go against it. The thing is that the problem with being taking criticism from people that aren't going to buy your game in the first place is that if you take that criticism and change it to the game, then the
Yeah,
people that
you're hurting the
actually buy
people
your
who do buy
games,
it.
yes, every time it's just like, why? Why do
And
you
that's
listen to these
happening,
people?
yeah, that's happening with Silent Hill too, that people are frustrated with, and the new Lollipop Chainsaw. They're like, we want to change this and make it more for a contemporary and modern audience. So for Silent Hill, they're like, we're toning down the scares and changing the story. And for Lollipop Chainsaw, they want to desexualize things. And I have a friend, female friend, who is really disappointed about toning down the sexuality and stuff in Lollipop Chainsaw. Not because she's some pervert, living the male fantasy, but she was frustrated because she felt empowered seeing a badass superhero character who was both hot and also confident. And this kind of thing, people assume, oh, it's only a male audience. Obviously, they were targeting that with the way they designed the character and even made an achievement for being a pervert, but that's not the reality of all the people that play it. There are tons, like, there's a huge fan base, female wise, for that game because they feel empowered and think it's cool to have a character like that that's
There's
not
women that just
written.
like stuff like that. That's the thing.
Oh, of
Whenever
course.
we play a game, my girlfriend always has to comment on things, and we always have to check the boob slider to see how big it goes because she's well endowed. She has big
Yeah,
boobs.
and that's the
And if
thing.
you
She
want to play
shouldn't
a
be
game with
shamed
a
for that.
if you want to play a game with a character generator, you want to feel represented. And
Exactly.
I feel like it always comes down to things like, well, yeah, there's gonna be some 12-year-old kid or someone who's going to, put the biggest boobs on whatever on a character.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there are people out there that genuinely are built certain ways and want to be represented in these games.
yeah.
And that's my problem. Is it's like we'll scream from the rooftops that we're being inclusive. We'll have all these skin tones and all this,
Hmm.
but a boob slider's a step too far, or you can only go so far. You only have as big as like a C cup. What about a D
Yeah.
cup? Like I get that
It,
there are limitations with some games and the way that
yeah.
the gear's designed. It's not meant for a chest that big. Monster Hunter is one that comes to mind where they don't have any large. Just don't.
Until the modders make things goofy and crazy.
Yeah,
But
well,
yes, realistically speaking,
you'd have to alter all the things, so
yeah.
it's not feasible within the thing. So you just tone back, which is fine. Like I don't understand why it needs to be a discussion point. It's like, yeah, I know I'm a guy talking about this, but that's the thing. It's like trying to make my girlfriend's
Yeah.
opinion about this,
Well, exactly.
less
Just because you're a guy
valid.
doesn't mean it's less important to talk about. If anything, it's good that you're speaking up for something that you can't fully experience, but you're doing it for someone else. Because there needs to be more people that, instead of trying to fight battles for people who don't care and aren't involved, help fight battles for the people that are frustrated with the way things are. Who are buying the product and want to be represented. I know there's a lot of people that are frustrated with, for blacker characters, the hairstyles. I mean, you play a game and sometimes it's like your free options are afro, dreadlocks, and buzz cut, and it's like, cool. I see you were what you were kind of going for, but like, there's a
It
lot
definitely
of
feels
haircuts in between.
It definitely feels like it's somewhere in the middle, or you could just put, um, I guess it's what some of them refer to as like white people hair.
Yeah,
Like some is more like Caucasian or more Asian. Like the thing is, like you get more Asian haircuts and things and games.
yeah,
It's like that doesn't bother me, but I can understand how if you're if you're talking about like hairstyles for someone who you see people with all kinds of hairstyles all the time, and it just
yes,
seems
and
so weird to have like
yeah, to like limit that. And it's the same with what you were talking about with the slider. Like if you're playing Fallout and you just want a character to represent you, or you've created a fictional character in your mind. Imagine it's like D&D. You just want to create a certain type of character. Limiting people for any reason is silly. But to limit the specific things because
I
you're worried you might
remember
offend someone?
I remember playing WoW. I used to play on a role play server, so played with a lot
Mhm.
of role players, and a bunch of people would use female models to play like younger women type characters.
Mhm.
And there's only like at the time, I don't know if they've changed this, so I haven't played in quite a while. So,
Yeah.
but at the time, there was only like one one body type for them. They all had like big boobs.
Oh yeah. That was the classic video game thing where it's like the guy is jacked, built like
I mean,
the Terminator.
that's still the anime trope. Like the guys are
Yeah.
always jacked, despite how
And the
little they
women
work
are
out. And
exactly.
the women usually have like in anime in particular, they have a lot of different types of.
Yeah, these days especially.
Well, they with some of the older ones, basically like okay, He-Man's a perfect example of this. They drew one male body and everyone got that. That's how
Yeah.
everyone's buff in the original.
Same
I'm
with
talking
like
like
G.I.
original one.
Joe and stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like this is the 80s action hero look. And for the women characters, it was like,
Oh,
oh
it
well,
was just
they
so it
all
was
have the
easier to
Wonder Woman
animate.
body.
So they had like all the
Exactly.
motions and stuff. I
Especially
get
for
it.
selling toys.
Yeah,
You can do the same base build for everything.
yeah. And the
'Cause
only
that's all those
difference would
shows
be
were back then.
yeah.
Advertisements for the toys. Transformers too.
I mean, I watch Precure. That's still
Nothing wrong with
advertises for
cheap stuff.
toys.
Yeah.
Precure's great though.
I don't know if I sent it in the chat, but there was a manga I was reading, and one of the panels was a teacher, like an older woman, and she was like crying happy tears, and she's like, "Anime for children is food for my soul." She's like, "Sometimes I like just visiting this happy world where there's no strife and everyone gets along, and you don't have to worry at the end of the episode that there'll be drama for next week. It's just a nice change of pace from reality." And I think it's a true example for real life too. You can sometimes just enjoy these shows for what they are and not worry about the target demographic, what's going on. Just,
You should
hey,
always
this is
enjoy
peaceful.
these games. Like you shouldn't not want to watch me. I think there's a huge divide in the and a lot with a lot of people when My Little Pony became very popular with like an older
Exactly.
audience. The
Yeah.
thing with the thing with My Little Pony was it was actually like a good show. Like low key was a good show. It just was fun to
Yeah.
watch. It's like
I'd
I
seen
watched
clips and
Precure
there
and
was a
people.
lot of humor for adults too.
Oh no, it was definitely made for like parents could watch it with their kids. But
Exactly. Yeah.
so I don't. I have a niece. I don't care. I watched it. It's fine. Like honestly, you weren't like not watching it. You're fine, but watching it was good. Like there was fun stuff. The movies were fun. It was like it was it was nice to actually see North America actually give a damn about like legitimate all ages content.
Yeah. I was working at Toys R Us at the time it was big, so while I personally didn't watch it, I sold toys about it. So I read up on some of the characters and I tried to understand what the kids
Applejack
liked and
Master Race. I loved
uh
Applejack. She's got the hat. She always had the
yeah,
best comments. She was the nice, like, mature sister one.
I
And she
think
had
the
the
most
best
popular,
memes.
yeah, I do remember some of her memes. Um I think the most popular, I almost said Rainbow Jack, Rainbow Dash, like the tomboy one that was
Rainbow
super
Dash is
energetic.
a good character. Not my favorite, but I understand why
Yeah,
people liked her.
yeah, the toys sold really well with her, and it was the kind of thing where it's like I had someone come in who was around my age at the time, mid-20s, and he was like, "Oh, do you watch this, blah blah?" And I was like, "I don't personally, but I have nothing against it." He goes, "Well, I really just appreciate that it's calm, it's peaceful, and everyone's just trying to have fun. Like the whole message is friendship. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
this
relaxing and peaceful." And I was like, "Oh, that's cute. I'm glad there's something like that." It doesn't always have to be big, crazy budget action. You should be able to sit down and say, "It's a cute little story. I appreciate the message. I'm going to enjoy this," and not
I
be judged.
it's funny that you talk about that because this week, um, so I've been watching. I don't know if you've watched any of it, but The Witch from Mercury, the new Gundam.
I haven't yet. I'm so
Okay,
behind on Gundams.
well, this one's kind of standalone. I have never really gotten into Gundam, but this one has been good. But it is heavy. It's very
This is
heavy.
with the female main lead, right?
Yes, she was not in this episode at all this week, but
Oh,
it's usually very heavy. Like you'll be playing it and watching it rather, and it gets a little um, intense in spots.
I feel like a lot of Gundams have
So you need
gotten
a
more
palate
than just
cleanser after
fighting.
you watch it, right?
Yeah.
So this week, I was watched it, and I'm like, all right, time for the palate cleanser. So I put on it translates to the English title is My Clueless First Friend. I
Oh,
think I
I know
talked
that
about it
series.
last week.
Yeah.
It's honestly pretty funny and usually really lighthearted. This week, the character I did not expect to start crying started crying and realized what he'd been doing the entire series. I'm like, no, how would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? I needed to escape from
You
Gundam.
were
I didn't
supposed
need
to
to
be my
feel.
freedom, my break. Oh, I feel like there are certain shows that do that too. They're like super lighthearted and fun, and then every now and then there's one really serious episode, and it just hits you really hard,
It
and then it goes
wasn't like
right back to
super
being lighthearted.
serious, but it was um the whole premise of the show is that the for people that don't know is you have this girl Nishimura Akane, and she's made fun of at school because she's got dead eyes and dark hair. So she looks very stoic, I guess. And she doesn't emote a lot because people aren't nice to her. So they call her the Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Shimagami. So um she's like ridiculed and everything. And he's a transfer student and he comes in and he's like everyone's like talking about the Grim Reaper and all this stuff and he's like completely oblivious to what it means. He's like, that's so cool. Like, why she has such a cool nickname?
Yeah,
That's like
exactly.
the coolest, right?
Oh, it's badass.
It's badass. And he's always like super positive. And someone will try and say something about her, and she'd be like, my favorite one. This is a fun scene. Try and set it for you. Is they're on lunch duty, so they're going to serve the lunch. They've got the big pot, whatever, and the one guy like always picks on her. Is like, well, you know, I'm gonna. I know. Oh, it's gonna taste bad because she made it or she's serving it. And he's like, oh, if you don't want it, I'll eat it.
Yeah,
It's just like, I didn't say I didn't want it. It just
exactly.
like goes on and on.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Well, the guy's kind of clueless, but it's like, is he actually clueless, or is he just like? My girlfriend was convinced that he's just like 4D chessing these guys.
He's totally in on it. Too smart.
He knows what's up. He knows what's up. That's all.
Exactly.
It's just like absolutely love it. It was so funny. So that is but basically it ended with tears, and I was like, I was not ready. I was not ready. I did not go into a show that's supposed to be funny expecting tears.
Yeah. And I think to the point we were making earlier about you shouldn't be shamed for watching certain things that are, you don't age out of things. I think that's a great example of watching that show. You don't have to be the age group that those kids are in school to enjoy watching it. You can relive what it was like in your head with the memories you have of that time period. Maybe you just want to enjoy it, or maybe you like the idea that it takes you back. I don't think, for most things, getting older should change how anyone feels about a situation.
If
And
anything, for me, as I've gotten older, I've cared less and less for like super actiony shows.
yeah,
I've
as a
noticed
kid,
that.
you love that stuff, and then you grow up and you're like, well, I still like some of that stuff, but I'm liking the stuff I didn't like as a kid. I'm looking at it differently. I think that's an important distinction to be able to make instead of just, well, I'm this age now. I guess I can't enjoy this anymore. I mean, it's like what people say when you watch anime in general or collect figures at a certain age. They're like, oh, aren't you too old for that now? What, what does that mean? Did you just time passed enough that you're like, I'm not allowed to enjoy anything anymore? It seems silly. Why would you ever put a restriction on anything? It's like when you see board games or Legos and it's like ages 9 to 99. You're like, oh, sorry, Grandpa, you turned 100 this year. No more fun for you.
I think they
Please
changed it
don't
to
reflect us
99
back.
plus at this point.
Yeah, which is hilarious that someone had to take what I just said as a joke seriously. But there's someone. uh,
Yeah,
Every time anything changes or a sign is there, it's because someone did something stupid. Ah, humanity.
it is weird. But yeah, like you don't grow out of things. It's like if anything, some of the older games that I played, like the arcadey style ones, like the
Hmm.
Genesis ones, I like them even more now because they're like
Yeah,
you could play them in an afternoon and be done.
exactly.
It doesn't require a huge. I don't know what happened with games. Well, I kind of know, but we went to this point where it's like games used to be super short, and then you get something
Yeah.
that was longer. Remember, people always talk about how like it's Chrono Trigger, right? The SNES one. I always get them mixed up. So
Yeah.
for me,
Oh, you mean instead of Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger?
it's Chrono Trigger, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up. So I'm just
No
making
worries.
sure. It's only like what 12, 14 hours long or something.
Yeah, I mean, depending on obviously how well you know it, but if you're just doing main content stuff, you could definitely beat it in that time.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's not that long, and now we have these crazy bloated games that are like
Yeah.
100 plus hours. I'm not saying we don't. I don't like the 100 plus hours. Like we saw Diablo 4, though. It's like it's gonna take 150 hours to like
Yeah.
beat this game. I'm like, no thanks. Like honestly, no thanks. I That's not what makes Diablo Infinite really replayable.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the big things you just touched on. In the same way that crafting was fun, so everything needed to be crafting, and then open world was cool, so everything needed to be open world. Every game thinks they need to be the longest game or the only game you'll ever play. Well, even though I have a lot of fun games I love to play, let's be honest, no one ever sticks with just one game except the few people that still play League or, WoW, and that's the only thing they play. Most
Even
people
even
switch it
pros
up.
don't. Yeah, even pros don't. Like
Yeah,
Owl pros, whatever. They play other games. They play something
exactly.
to
I mean,
relax.
exactly. You just said the palate cleanser for that watching that show. You don't want to do something only that all the time. You'll get burned out on it. So,
Yeah.
any idea that you need to be the only game someone will ever play is insane, especially when, as a company, you're making more than just that game. Why
I
would they
think
buy your
EA
next game if
realized
this lasts
this
forever? Yeah,
a while ago because basically for the longest time all their games were like big live servicey type games. And then I think it was and then he's like, well, you're just fighting yourself. How's it going, Shushu? You had all these people going from playing it's like, well, you're not competing with anyone else at that point, right? If all your games are
yeah,
service games, you're literally competing with yourself.
exactly. Plus,
And
it's so much easier to sell the same product every year instead of selling content in the same product, all the time.
well, that's the thing. That's why I think that's why I don't know how Jedi Survivor is gonna do, but Fallen Order was so cool. People liked it because it was such a departure from what they normally do. It's like
Yeah,
EA making a single player game. That's why I was so cautious about it when it got announced. Like, what is this a service
exactly.
game?
Especially after Battlefront, where
Yeah.
it was like, how could you mess that up? And then you played it and you're like, Oh no.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Like it's actually playable
Oh
now.
yeah. The
But
launcher was rough. Yep. Waffle has a good point. When they decided instead
hmm
of making another Titanfall, they're like, oh, we could just do Apex Legends forever. We'll have infinite money.
well, EA did. They basically used Titanfall 2 as like a scapegoat,
Yeah.
and it sucks because Titanfall 2 is dope, absolutely
It
dope.
has an amazing campaign, and people don't even know that. They assume it only has that online multiplayer. They don't
Like the
even
first
realize
one,
it's got
yeah, because that
exactly,
was the
yeah.
thing. The first game was I don't want to say panned, but critiqued because it only had the campaign online mode, and I remember people being like, "Yeah, this was good."
Yeah.
I'm no
The
good at the
second one
online
had a
modes of
crazy
Titanfall.
story.
It
It
was good.
was surprisingly good, and it still had a really good online. And I'm
Linear
frustrated at
campaigns are
how
not bad.
fun the concept was because we haven't seen it anywhere since. The idea that you could call down giant robots mid-battle, crushing your enemy with them, or you could ride the opponent's giant robots, take over them. The idea that it was PvE and PvP, like with the attrition, you'd have the little AI guys running around, but you get more points for killing actual players. Um, I like that idea because it reinforced if you're not as good at this game and you're always losing in these one-on-one fights or getting jumped by a bunch of guys, you could still be a good team player, holding bases down, killing the little AI guys while you're more Twitch shooter players or taking out the other players. I feel like it was a really cool way to reinforce that everyone can take a turn and still have fun. And you don't see that. It's a shame. Nothing felt better than calling down a giant titan in the middle of a battle where you guys were losing, and you just come in with like a flamethrower on one arm, and you're blocking bullets with an electric shield and mowing down guys, and turning the course of battle. It's just such a great idea. I wish they did something with it still, even if it was just throwing some of that into Apex. I just want more Titans, man. I want Titanfall
I
3.
actually kind of hate that Apex was like a throwaway, literally a throwaway line, and like the Apex
Yeah,
Legends is literally a throwaway line in the campaign of Titanfall 2, and no one knows. No one knows.
yeah.
Just like, are you for real?
It reminds me of what happened with Fortnite, where they were making that save the world mode, and that was the main campaign. And then they did the online battle royale, and it got more popular, and they decided to
That
stop
was
making the game.
yeah. It's like yeah, no one cares about this. We're just gonna put everything in with the PvP. But
Yeah, and
Fortnite
that's what
is
happened
just
with
like
Titanfall.
the thing about Fortnite is it's just casual. You just jump in and you don't need to have like a bajillion hours.
Yeah. Plus, they have, at this point, so many IPs for skins. You want a superhero? You got it. You want Star Wars? You got it. You want video game characters? Real people from the concerts? Anime characters? Fucking Rick and Morty? You got it. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Peter Griffin in there by this point. I saw Naruto shooting Spider-Man with an AK-47, and then Goku came in and used the Kamehameha and killed everyone. That is Smash Bros. Level of crossovers.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna make money with that.
Oh yeah.
I'm drooling at that. I'm like, that's hilarious. SpongeBob gets an AK and just mows down Goku.
I don't think they have
It,
SpongeBob yet, but
oh yeah, I'm
maybe
sure.
one day.
I'm just throwing names. I mean, I'm sure I could just throw a bunch of things out and I'd find out half of them are in it. I know Chun Li with the thighs is in there even. They got everything.
Yeah, I
They,
think both Chris and Jill are in there from Resident Evil too.
oh, that's right. They did the Resident Evil stuff recently because I
Yeah.
remember thinking, I can't download this and spend money. I don't play it enough, but I really like how they did some of the characters. Except Chris, I heard he looked kind of rough.
They didn't
But
use the boulder punching arms. They should have.
ugh,
You
they
should have
should
gone
have
for
made him
boulder
because
punching Chris, not old man
yeah.
Chris.
And when they did that, they could have easily thrown in an emote of him just stacked like a fridge, and someone walks into him, or even just referencing the boulder punch by spawning one in front of him and having him crush it. Because they do that with everything. They got the little dances, and that's how
Emotes.
they make all the money.
Yeah.
Everything is monetized. The dances, the emotes, the stickers, the skins, the weapon skins, the parachute skins, everything. Um, and then they appeal to these kids and also adults with all these
I know a
crazy
bunch of people who
franchises.
play it, but the thing is like as a casual player, you can literally just download it
Yeah,
and play it, and you don't need a lot of the a lot of the like Twitch shooter and game knowledge that you need for other games like Overwatch, which is showing right now,
Yeah.
is not necessary. Like basic fundamentals will work, will get you through.
And
Like
there's so many
FPS.
different types of modes too. Like if you don't have the crack building mode that some of these kids have, you can just play the no build. Suddenly it's just a third person shooter battle royale. You know, you can go into the custom matches with the created maps and you can make your own and that game does have a huge accessibility with just
Oh my
allowing
goodness.
people to come in.
Just we're live here. 8 minutes ago, Microsoft preparing to close Activision deal despite FTC suit.
Ooh,
Oh man. Oh man. Shit just got real. It's gonna be
yeah.
done, guys. It's gonna be done.
Thank God. I just want it to be over. It's been over a year. I want us to do video games again from the video game company.
Okay. Uh Waffle's talking about no build mode in Fortnite. Yeah, it was really fun. My problem with the way Fortnite does matchmaking though is it'll give you like a bunch of kids for the first map and you'll
Yeah,
be
or
like,
even bots.
yeah, literal bots. And you just like hose them down. You're like, oh, this is great. And you want more. And then suddenly everyone's like better. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, suddenly
And
it's the
then
streamers
you're
who are
like
doing the little
fourth or
switch
fifth
guns
game
everywhere.
in. And it's like, oh no.
I honestly am gonna admit, if I have people to play with, I do enjoy playing Fortnite. It's fun with the no build mode personally for me, but I could play it for a few hours with friends. It's less fun by yourself. I don't like doing the solo as much. Um, you know, I did have the funniest solo win, I have to say. There's a little bush you can get, and you like hide in the bush. It's like camouflage. Um, I did that, and I made it to the last tree, and I'm hiding as a bush, slowly walking towards a tree to hide. And the other two guys were trying to kill each other with rockets, and they killed each other at the same time, and I won. I did nothing that match. I walked around as a tiny bush, just seeing how long it would go, and I won with nothing else. And it was hilarious. I was like, I wish I could share this moment with people. It's so funny. And that's one of the experiences that I think is kind of unique to these kinds of games. You can have fun doing things the right way, but you can also make your own fun and do weird stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I know there's the RPs in that too, like every other, big game. It's very accessible to tons of different kinds of people.
yeah. That's the thing. Like, I have played Fortnite. I don't want to say I haven't, but the thing was, is I used to just snipe people across the map with like the machine gun. It's funny,
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious. And my girlfriend's like, "How did you even see that guy?" And I'm like, "Whatever." Because every season I played, I'd always have like the hit a dude at like 200 plus meters or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, Waffles completely right here.
Yeah.
Get that dopamine rush. Yeah,
And that's how it gets you too, when you play against those people, you're like, oh, I'm good enough at this, I could play more. I could spend money and get some of these things, so I'll keep playing. And then you play against those harder guys, and you have that feeling of like, oh, well, look at all the
yeah,
stuff they had. Maybe I need that to be better, or maybe I should
yeah.
keep playing this.
I don't know. It was weird. Waffle can tell you. We did the 10 wins in a row last night in Overwatch. Absolutely
Ooh.
fucking unheard of. I don't know how we did it, but we did.
I definitely want to play Overwatch with you guys again some more. I've been slacking a bit on it because I don't want to do as much solo. I feel like if you don't have a competent team, you get frustrated in matches more often because you'll be playing with someone and you're telling them, we need to do this or we should try this. And they either mock you for it or ignore you. And you're like, bro, this is a team based game. Why are you trying to shoot people? We need the objective.
Yeah, some people are weird.
Oh, and I'm sure there is an
There's
algorithm
such thing
with
as
what Waffle
an
said.
yeah, yeah. I
There's
could
a hilarious algorithm for COD, to the point where if you do bad enough for the skill based matchmaking, it'll put you in really bad lobbies. Someone had lost like 1,000 games in a row, and their skill based matchmaking for like a ratio of having 0.01, it put them in a lobby. And I kid you not, the people playing, and I don't mean to mock them, but it was like people who were in their 80s trying to play. Like they'd look at you very slowly and then start shooting all around you. And like it looked like someone who had never held a
well
mouse or a
it's
controller.
literally that scene from the Boondocks. You know
Yeah,
the one. You know the one. I
exactly.
can't say. I can't tell you what it is because I'll get deleted for saying it.
Because
But
I'll
you know
get
the one.
canceled. Yes, and it's exactly like that. So you play with people like that, and it's like, oh God, so there is this level. But then you play with how you're used to, and you see people get mad. They're like, why am I playing with sweaties? And it's like, because that's your skill level. You might not be better than that level, but you're good enough to get there. And it's set up so that people who are at the level I was just describing play against each other and not other people who know how to hold the controller because it would not be fun for them.
Yeah, but
So,
you need to have that, right? You need to have a number,
exactly.
and but it's been the weirdest thing with Overwatch. Even is we've ended up in games with like literal grandmasters. And last night, this guy who was top 500 Switch, who had to tell us he was top 500 Switch. It was that guy was hilarious, Mister
Oh,
Top
and
500 Switch.
I see you're playing as the new hero in this footage too. What do you
Yeah,
think of him?
this is before he got patched today, so he's
Oh,
good.
buff or
I do
nerf?
like him. They're changing his control scheme entirely. See,
Oh,
I had to
really?
switch between weapons. It's gonna be left click, right click, or left trigger, right trigger on controller.
Gotcha. Is that because it was he handled like Mercy, right? Where you had to
Yeah,
switch between. Yeah,
yeah, and his
it's
lunge
not
is
good
gonna
for
be
battle.
on jump, like
Like Hanzo.
yeah. The thing is
Gotcha.
I think he's really good, but the problem is a lot of people are playing him in really dumb situations because he's not really meant to just take like hard engaged. Like you can't just carry with him like you can on someone like Kiriko, where you can literally just go on a tear and just murder the whole team.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a frontline kind of hero.
No, he's all about like sightline manipulation.
Hmm.
And
And he's
what's his
also
name now?
definitely
Luncheon.
what happened?
I remember I was just watching the footage there and it was like he charged in. I could have pulled him out.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he's also a support hero, not the class, but like he plays support. He doesn't play healing
He's
or
MOBA. He's
battling.
like MOBA support. Yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing
like
is, his
his
healing
entire thing
numbers are
is.
pretty high, apparently. Like, mercy
Oh yeah,
level's
I'm
high.
sure. Oh, mercy levels.
She's like
Yeah,
got
I'm
the
sure
highest
there's
throughput.
crazy level to play, but it's probably less common, or people haven't discovered easier ways to do it yet.
Well, he's got like kind of a lock on, and you can kind of throw it around corners. So he's
Oh,
not as
interesting.
skill shoddy as Kiriko or Ana,
Hmm.
but not as noob tubey as someone like Moira.
Hmm.
Like I don't
I
hate
noticed she
Moira.
dropped a little flip. Oh, she's one of my main healers. Well, do you hate her when fighting her, or do you hate her because a lot of people don't know how to use her as a
I
healer?
feel like she's like super easy to just and people just go for like the Reddit or TikTok plays, I should say, is the new thing. It's not Reddit.
Well, the frustrating thing is her healing output is actually double her damage output. So, if you actually play her as a healer, she has crazy healing, but everyone loves to play her as damage. And don't get me wrong, I love to murder with her. She is one of my highest kill to death ratio heroes because of the way I play her. But you shouldn't be trying to lead the charge with her. She's great for sapping health and then giving it back to your teammates, but
I
everyone
wish I
is
had
always
footage.
using
I
of
wish I
what?
had footage of it. But we were playing I was playing Waffle the other day and we were on um New Queen Street
Hmm.
and I was on Kiriko and our tank was literally just like I think they were Junker Queen, and they were just trying to fight this Arissa, just 1v1, and both the healers were just doing stuff, and I'm like, this is dumb. The Mercy's right there. And they put a kunai in her face, and they're just chasing her, and then suddenly we win the fight, and it's like, oh,
Crazy
you
what
figured
happens
it
when you
out.
play it the right way.
When we got to the end of that match, I think I had more damage, more kills than the tank.
Oh,
Because
and
they
that always
switched to
drives
Ryan
me
at one point,
insane.
and they're just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
But
that
bet to
reminds me
life,
of that picture. Have you seen the fan art of Kiriko throwing the kunai at Diva? and she's like, "I'm sorry, bestie," and you see her like
Yeah,
crying as she throws it, and Diva's doing the flipping the bird.
yeah.
There's so many moments like that with Kiriko. It's really funny. She's a good hero
She is
or
very good.
a champion, whatever. Technically, I know it's
It's
considered
hero.
hero, but
It's still hero.
I feel like some of these people are villains. Not Kiriko, but there's a couple
Mm.
people here that I would describe as heroes.
There's some that yeah, they still the game still calls them heroes. So
Yeah, and I get it. That's I think League calls them champions or something. Smite has gods. It's just another word for like the hero shooter group.
character.
Yeah, but it's funny to say things like hero, and then it's like, here's the guy who uses double shotguns. What does he do? He kills people and steals things. Here's the angry cowboy guy who,
He's not a bad guy though.
well, he was for a bit. Didn't they work for like
No,
Blackwatch and
Blackwatch.
Talion?
Blackwatch was the is the was I should say. Overwatch is Black Ops. That's why it's
Mm,
Blackwatch. They like did all the the sketchy jobs.
yeah. I thought, wasn't there a bit though where Reaper was working
Reaper
with
was
the,
part of Blackwatch, yes, and he went
no, but
rogue, and that's why they
that's what it was. Yeah.
exposed Blackwatch. I know you
Okay.
had to get all that plot from comic
Yeah,
books and
like
stuff because
comics
it's not
online.
in the game. It's all
And
your
that's the
bad.
frustrating thing that I think is a great segue for the next thing we should talk about. uh, Blizzard is on so many great IPs that they could expand on, whether it's movies, TV shows, other universes, games, and they don't. I feel like
There
there's
was an
so
anime
much
short for
potential.
Overwatch when Doomfist was introduced. I believe
I
it.
remember they used to do decent stuff like that, where
Yeah,
it's
the
like, here's a
cinematics
new
and stuff.
character. Yeah. Oh, I mean, people
We
were
had
even
one
making fun of them in the beginning.
when Kiriko got added, but we didn't get one for Lifeweaver. Well, we got the
Yeah.
short visual novelty style ones, I'd call it.
We also didn't get one for why can't I remember her name? The railgun girl who
Sojourn,
slides.
the Canadian,
Yes. I
who
didn't
I
even know
think
she
is
was
really
Canadian.
weird. Yeah, she's apparently Canadian, and
That's the kind of thing that would be cool lore to understand.
yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that I think. I mean, even if you didn't want to use the
Honestly,
specific game characters.
I think Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and I know people like the oh, was Arcane's one. Arcane was the League of Legends. Was that the League of
Oh
Legends
yeah,
one?
yeah. They did the what is
Yeah,
it like? They have the
but
pop group there, and they also did the I forget what it was called, but it was the one that had Jinx,
I think
and
was it Arcane or something? I don't remember.
it might
But
have been.
anyway, all these games, Witcher, Cyberpunk, bloody everyone has these tie-in things.
Yeah,
I know Scarlet Nexus also had an anime.
yeah, that launched alongside it, and it did something really cool. If you watched the anime, there were secret codes in the episodes you could find and then put into the game, and you would get exclusive stuff. Not exclusive stuff you have to buy, not exclusive stuff that
Yeah, because
is.
I remember when I got it, they gave me a code for. I think it was on Crunchyroll, right? I don't remember.
I
I
think it
don't partake.
was it Funimation at the time, but then Funimation died and it became
It's
Crunchyroll.
one of the two. Bandai and Square have enough anime. They could have their own service. Literally
Oh,
not
I mean,
lying.
I'm surprised Square hasn't done it yet. With the way they're going and the great decisions they've been doing.
I mean, go be honest. Still, but I think what you're trying to say is the mixed media stuff is just potential of Blizzard is really high.
Yeah, the
I think
revenue from
even the
that
mixed
is crazy.
media potential for other Xbox IP is high.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we saw with Halo. It was decisive. Not everyone thought it was great. Some people thought it was amazing.
That was also
That,
announced in what 2013. That show finally came
oh
out
God,
in
yeah.
2022.
Yeah, just been getting kicked around for a while.
Yeah,
There's so many things like that. I mean, if they did it right, a Gears of War that's actually like bloody and gruesome would be insane.
I think if you want to do so you want to do mixed media, you need to go the Star Wars Vision / Edge Runners route, where you just
Yeah,
let the studios go nuts. Like
exactly.
you should literally just give the IP, be like, okay, you can't use, if you want to use one of the like real characters, you can't
Yeah,
unless you ask us, and then it's for a cameo or something. But
exactly.
you'll have carte blanche with whatever you want in universe. Like Trigger
It,
made some crazy stuff for Star
I
Wars
mean,
Visions,
Trigger's
and
already crazy in general. They go ham on everything.
yeah, I mean seriously, like look at Edge Runners.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point you touched on. One of the reasons people get so pissed at these things is because they try to make it like the games, but then not enough like them, so fans get mad. But if you just take the universe and you say, this is original stuff, we're not copying anything, so we can't do it wrong. This is original stuff in this world, then you can go crazy. Then you can have fun creating new stories, but also entertaining the people who like these things. Can you imagine a Halo where it wasn't about